Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, Vincent LaRusso and I are going to be talking about the nominees for the 2025 Rock Hall of Fame induction. We'll go through the list and give our thoughts and our opinions, and we really look forward to hearing yours. Alrighty, lots to cover in this episode. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it, so let's jump in and let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Today I have with me my buddy, my comrade, the chemist, Mr. Vincent LaRusso. How you doing, bloody?
Hola!
What are you doing? Oh man, I'm glad to see you're in a good mood.
I am in a good mood. I'm thawed.
Very good. You're thawed, huh? 10
Thawed.
toes? 10 toes for this?
Let's see how this goes.
All right.
And I'm running out of my Kirkland signature beverage, so this could go downhill real quickly.
That's not good. Well, this is a topic we do every year, so and it usually gets you a little riled up when we do this topic. So and that is today, the Rock Hall of Fame announced their their potential inductees, their nominees for induction for this year, and I think they narrowed it down to 14. So as we say every year, I think it's a max of 14 people that could be inducted. So. And we say this every year when we do these. Clearly, we know that the Rock Hall is not only rock music at this point. It's almost like a broken record to bring it up and to debate it and to argue about it. But I'm sure when we look down this list of artists that are potential candidates to be inducted, and some of them clearly are not rock bands, I'm sure you'll have an opinion on that.
I always do.
You always do. That's right. Have you seen the list of nominees?
I'm bringing it up right now. Okay,
right.
I see it now.
All right, very good. Well, usually what we like to do is just kind of go down the list and give our opinion on whether or not this particular artist should or should not be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And notice I left off the word rock, right? To me, it's just the Music Hall of Fame. I know I'll get 1,000 comments on this video that says, so-and-so is not rock. So I get it. I get it. And, that is what it is. We're never going to change that. We're not going back. But saying that, there are quite a number of rock artists that were inducted, that are nominated, not inducted, nominated this year. So I just thought that was a little interesting that a majority of them are actually rock artists. So who knows?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So let's start with the list then right away. And we'll go in alphabetical order. Bad Company. I know this is one that fans have been clamoring for years and years. And it's actually, I think, the first time they're even nominated to be potentially inducted. Worthy of enshrinement in the hall to you?
Is Sheryl Crow in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh, it's her birthday. Go light on her today. It's her birthday today.
I always got to do it. And
I
always say I actually like Sheryl Crow.
Yes, anyways, you do.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer. Bad Company absolutely should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's no Paul Rodgers is one of the most influential and underrated vocalists. A lot of people, even the Paul Stanleys of the world, regard him as one of the great frontmen, to ever live. Even some people say better than a Robert Plant, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I mean, they had numerous amount of hit songs, just a great straight ahead, rock and roll band, highly influential in my opinion. This is a no-brainer, and I can't believe this. If you're saying this is the first time they're even nominated, this is crazy.
That's the part and that's why I brought that one up. That blows my mind. Forget even for 30 seconds whether they should or shouldn't be in, and I agree with you, they should be. But how could it be that, I mean, the first album has to be 50 years ago, give or take a year or two. How could this be the first time they're nominated when they were up for induction for 25 years? And I think this is part of the problem people have with the Rock Hall is like, what happened in 2025 that suddenly Bad Company is potentially worthy of induction that wasn't there
We're
for the
not
last
worthy.
25
We're
years?
not
Exactly.
worthy.
It's just like this one, like it scratches my head why it takes 25 years for a band like them to even be nominated. Forget being inducted, right? We'll have that conversation at the right time. But I don't understand how that could take 2.5 decades from the
Yeah.
time they were first eligible to now. And why all of a sudden somebody wakes up this year and says, all right, yeah, let's put them up for a nomination. Like that's so baffling to me.
Yeah. 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 I agree, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, but sounds like we're both in agreement on that one, that Bad Company. Put them in. All righty. Then we'll go down the list. The next one, the Black Crowes. I think it's a band that we both like, but let me hear your opinion. Black Crowes, Hall of Fame worthy.
The Black Stones.
The Black Stones. The Black Stones, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, you got to remember, "Shake Your Moneymaker" came out, I think, in '89, at the height of hair metal, and this record comes out, and it's kind of like the straight ahead rock. It's kind of like what Guns N' Roses did, but Guns N' Roses wasn't your throwback to the Stones. I mean, if you listen to a lot of the Black Crowes, it's a very much of a throwback to the Stones. It's. I mean, they've fully admitted even the tuning of their guitars. You know.
Yep.
And a great first album, great Amorica, Harmony, and whatever the hell that album. I mean, I love their first 2 or 3 albums.
Yep.
Absolutely, this is a no-brainer. They should absolutely, and they put out a record recently that I thought was really good. So, and they're still putting out music, and I know the brothers weren't talking and playing for a while, so I'm glad they're still they're playing together again. But absolutely, I'm very happy to see the Black Crowes on this
Yeah.
to be on
So
this
you
list.
you say it's a no-brainer, huh? Are you letting your fandom get in the way, or do you honestly
No,
think it's a no
no,
no-brainer?
because this is what I say. If you're going to copy somebody, and copy is not the right word, but influence, do it really well,
Mhm.
and do it well enough so that you sustain, that it's not just a one and done record. Oh yeah,
Yep.
it was like all the rage for '89, but then people kind of got tired of it. They got better. Their records got better. They didn't get worse.
Mhm.
And I just think that influence, re-influencing people to go back and listen to people like the Stones, or another band that I was thinking of, Humble Pie. I mean, Humble Pie is another band that it's like people don't talk enough about. Um, so I think absolutely they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And am I basing this also on who else is in there right now? Of course, there's a little of that tinge on it, but I'm really going based on merit alone here.
Interesting.
And I
So,
think you have to,
yeah.
really know their discography to really, to weigh in on this one. And I don't know how much you have done that other
I
than
have, I think, probably through the first 3 albums, I think I
yeah,
have. And
yeah,
when we mentioned on the last episode we mentioned the Fire Aid concert. And I know the
yeah,
night of the concert, I was watching it live. And when the Black Crowes came on, I was texting with a friend, like, oh man, they sound great. They're really good. I just, I don't know that they, usually my bar is very high for a Hall of Fame, all Hall of Fames, not just music, but whether it's sports, whatever. I think the Black Crowes are a very good band. I think they've put out a few really good albums. Just don't know that they reached the level of Hall of Fame worthy, in my opinion. I think of last year or the year before, I think at this point, they were supposed to be touring as the opening act for Aerosmith. And that's not a slouch opening position. But I just don't know that they get up to the level of Hall of Fame worthy. When you say Rolling Stones, Beatles, and those
yeah.
types
Well,
of bands.
don't do that. Don't do that, dude.
Okay.
Because then you could say like Rolling Stone, Beatles, and you could say, I don't know, Bismarcky or somebody like that. I don't know.
Okay. Right.
So let's not go down that route.
Fine.
I
Fine.
see what
That's
you're
fair.
saying. However, I do think that this type of music never really truly resonated with you, even of the original type of that. You were never a Stones, a real like a Who guy, or
Hmm.
or the bands I was mentioned, Zeppelin. You
Yes.
were more of a casual. And I think if you're a fan of that kind of time period of music, I think they resonate a little bit more, and you come to realize why they have a little bit more oomph,
Hmm.
to get in.
Yeah.
And so,
And look, there's songs like Remedy that I think is great. And like I said, that night when I was watching the Fire Aid concert, my one comment that was negative about their performance was I texted my friend and they did 3 songs, if I remember right, and 2 of them were covers. And I said, I wish they were doing their own songs. Yeah, I
yeah,
wish they.
yeah,
So, yes, I definitely don't have the deep knowledge that perhaps you have of their catalog, but I just don't see the influence or the impact for a lengthy enough period of time or at a high enough level that to me warrants a Hall of Fame. Again, with my bar being pretty high.
Well, all right, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you respectfully on that one.
Well, I like that because we went down this list and we agreed on every one of them that would make the show pretty boring, actually.
That's true.
So I'll be curious to see. I'm sure a lot of the viewers and listeners are going to say, Vin was right, Mike, you're wrong. I'm not going to watch your show anymore. Hand it over to Vincent. So,
As it should be.
which will only get worse with the next one. So Mariah Carey, obviously the biggest rock artist on this list. Putting that to the side, clearly she's not rock. Clearly this is a music hall of fame. There are people in there that are not rock artists. Does Mariah Carey belong in the music hall of fame that it is?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I
mean, I admittingly, up until a certain point, I think in the early 2000s, I was a big fan of Mariah Carey.
Well, you're right. I don't know
Yeah,
this
I
about
mean,
you.
yeah, she had at one time, I forgot how many number one hits this is before Taylor Swift was,
Yep.
manufactured with everything else. Yeah, I don't get into that. Yeah, so she had that album number ones. I mean, and again, talent wise, songwriter, what she did to write the song Hero, I don't know. She's credited on it. I mean, whether she wrote the lyrics, it's a brilliant song. It's a great song. And it's not a rock and roll song, but we're not going through that.
Right.
Based on her body of work, longevity, absolutely.
Yeah. Look, I agree with you on this one, which is why I said I know I'm going to get grief for saying the Black Crowes no and Mariah Carey yes. But as a music hall of fame and what she had as a body of work, I mean, in the pop spectrum and the type of music she does, in my mind, there was nobody bigger than her for like a 10-year period. And hit after hit after hit, an incredible voice, annoys the crap out of me with the way she sings sometimes. Which, no denying, she's got an incredible voice, talented. I don't own a single album. I don't own a single one of her singles. I don't think I have a single song of hers on my iTunes. It's not my cup of tea. But if I'm being objective, yeah, she belongs in the Hall of Fame. I hate to say it because there's artists that I want in there that aren't in there, but objectively, she to me does belong. All right. So I thought we were going to disagree on that one also. I thought you were going to say no. So did not know you were as big of a Mariah Carey fan at one point as you just claim to be. Interesting.
You better get your research people to do a little better work. That's all
I know. That's shame on me. So all right. Next up, Chubby Checker.
Come on, baby, let's do the twist. Come on, baby, let's do the twist.
I think for every artist now, I want you to sing one of their songs. Before
that'd be great. Oh, the next one's gonna be even better.
All
right, I want to do that. That's actually fun.
That would be fun.
All right, so listen, he had that big hit, the twist. I mean, that reminds me of my childhood. My aunt and my parents would love this song. I remember growing up on it. Is he rock and roll Hall of Fame? I can't really answer this one in full fairness. I don't know. I didn't do any research on this. I'm looking at this list for the first time. I would really have to dig a little in here and really see whether or not I get the feeling he's still alive. I believe that because of the era of time he came from, influence that he could get in. But I really can't answer this with a yes or no, quite honestly.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to think he's probably going to get in. In my mind, he's somewhat of a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
I know he had a few hits after this, but they were all how do I say this?
Again.
A twist on the twist.
Yeah,
So I think if I remember right, in like 2017 or 2018, that song, The Twist, was inducted into the Hall of Fame as like one of the most important songs in music. And I have no objection to that. And I think that is perfect. Does Chubby Checker as an artist belong in the Hall? I think he's going to get in. I think a lot of people want him in. It's a one-hit wonder. I don't know. I don't think that's a Hall of Fame artist, just my opinion. Again, let's look at the body of work of Chubby Checker compared to Mariah Carey. Neither of them are rock artists to me, right? I know you can make a little bit more of a case for Chubby Checker, but who has a bigger body of work in terms of hits and influence? Mariah Carey. It's not even close, maybe Chubby Checker has, of both of them, the biggest song of the two, right? The Twist is maybe one of the biggest songs of that decade, but I don't think that's Hall of Fame worthy to me. The song, yes. The artist, no.
Yeah, I can't say yes or no on this one. Am I leaning more towards no, just what I think I know his body work, but I really don't. So
fair enough.
I'll be fair.
All right. Go ahead. Sing a Joe Cocker song.
What would you do if I sang attitude? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Now, all right, this is a shame. This fucking guy's dead. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? This shouldn't have taken this long, quite honestly. I know Joe Cocker never wrote a song in his life, but his voice, you know, watch Woodstock, you know, and see his performance. And I mean, he had numerous amount of hits. I mean, uh, great songs. I mean, You Are So Beautiful, Feeling All Right, Little Help from My Friends. He had that hit in the 80s too. I mean, and I think again, distinct style and sound and dare I say influence, you
Mhm.
know. You never heard a voice like that before or after, I'll say that.
That's
And I've
true.
heard people try to sing like Joe Cocker.
Yep.
So I think influence, number of hits, body of work, longevity. He was late, you know, late 60s. He had a hit all the way up until like 88. He had a When the Night Comes. He
Yep.
had the Love Lifts Us Up, Where We Belong. I mean, the soundtrack. You know, I'm just off the top. I mean, just based on that alone, I mean, that's a pretty impressive body work. You know, there's a lot of people. Elvis Presley never wrote a song, but I mean, he's
Right.
undeniable, of course. You
But
can't just say,
that time
yeah,
period, a lot of artists didn't write their own
right.
music, so I don't
So
get hung up on that.
right. So I absolutely think he should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, there was two artists on this list that in my mind I went back and forth, and Joe Cocker was one of them. I was like, yes, no, yes, no. I think you've kind of convinced me to swing over to the yes side on this one.
Well,
I think, like you're saying, the longevity and the body of work speaks for itself. Clearly, you know this about. I can't say I'm a Joe Cocker fan. Again, is another artist I don't have a single song in my collection.
although Gene Simmons called you Joe Cocker once.
Gene Simmons did call me Joe Cocker once. That's right. Wow, that's a good
Oh,
memory.
Joe Cocker.
I
Joe
totally
Cocker.
forgot about that. Yeah, so I'm being inducted into the Rock Hall of Fame. I'll go up there and accept it on his behalf and be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I think you've kind of convinced me to swing over to the yes side on this one.
Yeah.
All righty.
Cool.
Billy Idol. Go ahead. What song from Billy Idol do you want to sing for us?
Hey, little sister, what have you done? It's a
Oh.
nice day for a while. Wow.
Very
I love
good.
Billy Idol. I really do love Billy Idol. I mean, that record, and I think you were the first one who had it that I knew of.
Rebel
What's the
Yell.
record? Is it Rebel Yell? Yeah, that
Yep.
has Rebel Yell. It has Dancing with Myself. It has
Nope, that was on the album before that.
that was on which one has Flesh and Fantasy?
Technically, so Dancing with Myself technically was a Generation X song, his
Right,
band.
that's right. Yeah, okay.
And then it was on the EP that came out, and then it was
Yeah,
on the debut album that had White Wedding. So definitely not on Rebel Yell.
yeah, okay. So Rebel Yell was was that song?
Eyes Without a Face.
Eyes Without a Face,
I
right?
couldn't even tell what you were singing, but I knew what you were
Yeah.
talking
Yeah,
about.
I mean that's a great record. That's
It
a
is.
great record.
It is.
And then he had some hits after that. I know one of
Cradle of Love.
Play to Love. He did a cover of something. Moni Moni, of course. Everybody
Yes.
knows. A lot of people know his version more than the original. You know.
So true.
I mean,
Yes.
he's an influential artist. Look, style, the crossover from punk to mainstream. You know, rock. It's not many artists did that. You know.
Yep.
So I think influence, the body of work, still out there doing it. I think this is a, I think this is a nice entry
Hmm.
because of his style. You know, I'm trying to think of other people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame who are like Billy Idol,
Hmm.
image wise, and that
Yeah.
whole thing. I think this is a good one.
Yeah.
I'm
This was
happy. I was
this
pleasantly surprised to see him on this list.
This was the second one that I went back and forth on because I was trying to make sure that my fandom didn't get in the way of my opinion, right? Because, like you mentioned, the Rebel Yell album, and I still to this day love songs like Blue Highway and Do
Mm.
Not Stand in the Shadows. I think these are album cuts from that album. I love his 80s stuff, and I love the Generation X stuff. I know he's going in as a solo artist. Songs like Ready, Steady, Go, which he still does in concert a lot to these days. I love these songs. And I was like, I don't let that taint your opinion. Yes, he had a number of hits, especially over a, what, 6, 7 year period. But is that enough? And I think the answer is yes. I think to
Mm.
all the things that you were saying just now, I mean, there's not many artists that crossed over. I mean, I always say this, Dancing with Myself is the most popular punk rock song ever. I know it's a Generation X song originally, but it became popular as a Billy Idol solo song, even though it is
Hmm.
the same recording basically. So, but yeah, I think Billy Idol does belong in, and I'm happy to see if he gets in. I think, like you said, there's not really many artists like him in the hall. So I think this one, I went back and forth, and I think you've convinced me definitely that I'm not letting my bias get in the way, and that he should be a yes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right, I won't ask you to sing anything from
Mm-hmm.
this next band because I don't think you know Joy Division slash New Order.
Well, I mean, I know New Order. I know some. I think I actually have the best stuff on CD.
So you are, okay.
Again, what I know of this, they were electronic, the same on the same scope of like a Depeche Mode,
Yep.
and I'm trying to think of the other one. Yeah, can't it escapes me. And I don't really know their body of work to really weigh in on this one. I do know they do have a lot of influence. 80s synthesizers. I could tell you, I'm watching a lot of videos. I watch a lot of videos on the technology that came out. These guys really were at the forefront of pushing that technology. Again, you don't have to have a ton of hits. It's what did
Yeah.
you do, your impact. And I feel knowing that these guys were like at the top of like the forefront of pushing that movement forward, I would probably have to say, not even knowing their body of work, that they probably should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay. Yeah, like you, I don't really know their body of work. For years, I really didn't even know the band names, either one of them. It's only,
Yeah,
I'll say, the last decade where I just see these names coming up all the time. I'm like, who are these people?
yeah.
Um, I kind of feel though, like you were saying, like Depeche Mode, if I think about the bands that are, I guess, in this style, maybe they came first and maybe they influenced some of these other ones. But I think of like Human League before I think of Joy Division
Well,
and New
they may have had
Order.
the bigger hit. They may have had
Right.
the bigger hit, but I'm just going based on my knowledge of their influence and what they put forth on,
Yeah.
on especially during that time. But
Yeah.
I'm not. That's not a strong yes. I'm just saying they probably should be. That's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. But I don't know if they should be.
Right.
That even makes
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah, if I was sitting on the committee, I'd have to listen to the arguments for and against to make an educated vote or vote for or vote against. My initial going in thought would probably be no, because for that type of music, I think of other artists first.
Yeah.
And, but perhaps if somebody could sway me for the influence that Joy Division New Order had on these other artists, maybe I could be swayed. But my initial going in position would probably be like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they were formed in 1980, so like I said, they
Yep.
were at the really the top of when this music was starting to be really pushed, and but they had any really big hits or anything like that? Not so much that I'm really aware of.
Hmm.
I know they had
Yep.
Blue Monday was one of their songs, and
Yep.
so but if they don't get it, I'm not gonna be upset. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah, no, me
You
neither.
know,
I think there's the second, maybe even third time they're nominated. My gut tells me at some point, if not this time, they will get in.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I certainly will lose absolutely no sleep if they're not in. I don't think if I'm going to the Hall of Fame, I'm not going through there saying Joy Division's not in here. What's wrong with this place?
Right, right,
The thought wouldn't even cross my mind.
right,
Whereas, like, if Depeche Mode's not in there, I might say, oh, I'm surprised for that time period, Depeche Mode's not in there. And that's
right.
why I look at a Hall of Fame. If I'm going to visit, I want it to be obvious if somebody's not there that should be. And God knows there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of bands like that. But I don't think I would ever think, gee, Joy Division, New Order should be there. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Cyndi Lauper.
You waiting for an impression on this?
Go ahead.
Let's
Oh, it's great. You don't even do one of her own songs.
Yeah, Cyndi Lauper should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in my opinion. A lot of hits. Again, second to Madonna at that time was really. I remember they were pitting them both up against each other in
Hmm.
style, and certainly was a big influence. I think for female artists, alongside with Madonna. Obviously, Madonna eclipsed her. She had a ton of hits again. That Seashell Unusual album.
Yep.
She had I'm trying to remember True Colors, which there was a bunch of other Drove All Night, um, Money Changes Everything. These are songs off the first album. Again, just influence alone, body of works. I know recently she's doing her last touring, so longevity. Yeah, I would say so. Again, if I'm going to say if Sheryl Crow's in, she has to be in. I mean, again, hate to do the Sheryl Crow thing, but I think I think Cyndi Lauper was much more of an influence on the music business than Sheryl Crow was.
That's
Influence.
yeah, no, no. I was going to just say you're probably right from an influence point of view. I just don't know that Cyndi Lauper. raises to the level of Hall of Fame for me. And I have this She's So Unusual album. I even think I have the one after that. I have a couple of the singles. I have some of the songs on my playlist. It's not that I don't appreciate it. It's not like I'm not
I
a
mean,
fan. I
listen,
just
I don't think that Sheryl Crow has two better songs than Time After Time and Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I'm sorry. That's my
okay.
opinion. All they want to do is have some fun. That's great. Have some fun. But all I want to do is listen to those other two songs before I listen to that one.
Really? Hmm.
Yeah.
Neither of those songs blow me away.
Well, I'm not saying it blows me away. I think Time After Time is a brilliantly written song. I think it's has stood the test of time. It's a great song. That's just mine. It might be my style, what taste, or whatever. Although
I
you
prefer
like,
Money Changes Everything and She Bop over both of those songs.
all right, well, I like Money Changes Everything. I don't prefer. I actually had the Shebop 45, as a matter of
Hmm.
fact. But yeah, no, I don't prefer that song like that. But,
Okay. Well, I'm gonna lean towards no on Cyndi Lauper, and you'll say yes.
hmm.
All right. The next one I'm gonna guess. I know I did never heard of this band before. I saw him on the list today. Mana.
I don't think it's a band. I think it's an artist.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I looked it up. I said, "Who the hell is Mana?" And it said it's the number one rock group in Latin America.
Oh, okay. I have no opinion on this.
Yeah, I can't have an opinion other than if this is a Rock Hall of Fame and I have to question, huh, who's this? And I have to go Google their name.
Yeah, yeah,
They probably don't belong in there.
yeah.
Yes, I know they're the number one rock group in Latin America. And they sold something like 20 million albums. So clearly there's a lot of fans there. But when I'm going to the Hall of Fame, I shouldn't have to scratch my head and Google who this artist is that's in the Hall of Fame. That's just the way I feel.
Absolutely, I
Yeah.
agree.
So, but people out there educate us both on why we were both wrong with that uneducated opinion, right? So
Hmm.
I could admit that. All right. Oasis.
No Oasis.
No Oasis.
No Oasis. I mean, to me, they had that one big album. They're not very likable. First of all,
mhm.
I remember even when they came out, they were like, "We're better than the Beatles" and all this sort of horse shit that they were saying.
Yep.
Oh, that could just be for media attention.
Of course.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I just don't. I just don't think they have. I'm listen. I've covered their songs. Today, whatever the hell that song
Hmm.
is, and so Sally Can Wait, whatever the fuck that song is. I don't even know if that's the right lyric. I mean, they got some good songs that first album, but I just don't think they're probably that. I think this is like a Rolling Stone media darling band. They're probably gonna get in just based on that British shit.
Hmm.
Sorry, I don't mean British shit like for British people. It's just
No, no.
I know what they like.
Right.
So they'll probably get on that. So, but I'm gonna say no to this one.
And it's interesting because I actually said yes on this one, and you probably know more of their music than I do. I am not a fan. I don't have an album. I don't have a song. But last year, when they announced their tour and it sold out like big stadiums and arenas around the country and around the world in like 10 seconds, and they couldn't book enough shows, it made me realize I'm in the minority. Clearly, they've had a tremendous impact on music that I did not realize existed. And just because I don't like them, maybe, I'd skip over them if they're in the Hall of Fame. I don't care. But clearly, they've had a much bigger impact than I give them credit for. So that's why I said yes, even though I'm not a fan at all.
That could just because of controversy. The brothers didn't get along, so now they're
Maybe.
finally touring. I just don't think the body of work warrants it. And
Okay.
if you think, I don't see how you could pick them over Cyndi Lauper. Quite honestly, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, you're not asking me which artist I like better. If you ask me which artist I like better, Cyndi Lauper wins and the Black Crowes, by the way, which I
Okay.
said no to them also.
No.
But I'm just thinking about the impact and the influence on others and taking my own personal bias. I'm trying my best to take that out of the equation. Um, that's why I lean towards yes, even though not a fan.
Yeah. Okay.
Did not buy tickets to the show, will not go if somebody gives me a free ticket. No desire to see them in concert, no desire to buy an album. I'm just, looking at what other people feel and think of them.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Here's a non-rock artist, Outkast.
As they should be to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Listen, I know they had that one song, "Hey Ya." I don't know what else this band has done. I see an artist like this. I'm like, come on, what is this? Unless I missed some years of them pumping out hits or whatever, this is an absolute no, in my opinion. Sorry.
Yeah, look, I happen to think that song "Hey Ya" is great. What was it? But I thought that was more of like an Andre 3000, if I remember his name right. Because I think it was two guys in Outkast, and they each did songs on their own. And I think Outkast did have a couple of other hits, maybe sung by the other guy.
Yeah.
But when I saw this on the list, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
And that's not because they're not a rock artist. I was like, I think of Outkast more as a one-hit wonder that was around for 6 months than somebody who should be in the Hall of Fame.
absolutely.
So, clearly either I'm really missing something with this, or I mean, this was the total head scratcher to me. And that comes from somebody who happens to think that song, Hey Yeah, is a great song. I love that song. I have it on my iTunes. I listen to it still from time to time, but Hall of Fame, really?
Yeah, yeah,
What the hell? You know,
yeah, yeah.
this was a strong no to me with no disrespect meant to them. But all right, Phish.
Know nothing about them. I just know that like I've understand that like a jam band. That's
Yeah,
all I know. I can't give an opinion on this one.
yeah. You know what? I would have 10 years ago been in that same boat, and I don't know a single one of their songs, but I used to work with a guy who was a huge Phish fan.
I remember that.
And he told me at one point, "Oh yeah, I'm going to see them at Madison Square Garden 12 nights in a row." I'm like, wait. They've sold out 12 nights at the Garden? And oh yeah,
Yeah,
they do
it's
that all
like
the
it's part
time.
of like that Grateful Dead thing,
Yeah.
whatever.
So clearly their influence and their
They're
impact
gonna
is
they'll
there.
get it. Believe me, this is another one of these
Yeah,
Rolling
and I
Stone.
think, but I
Yeah.
think they probably deserve to get in again. I'm not a fan at all, but this guy just telling me, his name was Kevin, telling me that he was going like 10 to 12 nights or 12 to 12 nights, whatever it was, and they were doing different set lists every night. I'm like,
Hmm.
that's what a rock concert is supposed to be like. He's, yeah, I saw them for 10 nights and they did 65 different songs. I'm like, that's pretty freaking cool. So that seems to be, if you're a fan of them, pretty awesome to me. And they have that influence apparently, and they have that impact that they're selling out the Garden for 10, 12 nights, whatever it is.
Hmm.
I lean towards yes, even though I couldn't name a single Phish song if my life depended on
Mm.
it. But
Yeah.
uh, again, I try to take my personal bias out, so I won't be surprised if they get in. I certainly wouldn't miss it if they weren't there, though. So, all right, Soundgarden.
This is a good one. This is a good one. I mean, obviously, hugely influential in that grunge movement, Chris Cornell and all that thing. I think Nirvana obviously was a shoe in. You have your top three, Soundgarden, well, four, whatever you want to say, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam. I always looked at that was the top four, right? And then you
No
have the
Alice in Chains.
Alice in Chains after that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
What top five you want to say?
Yep.
I think they had a lot of great records. I think again, very different sounding. They didn't sound like Nirvana. They didn't sound like Stone Temple Pilots. They really did have their own sound. Nothing before, nothing after. So I would say yes to
Okay.
Soundgarden.
Yeah, this is one I went back and forth, and I ended up leaning on no for this. Bad Motorfinger, obviously, very big album. Songs like what was it? Rusty Cage, I think it was.
Mm,
Outshine. They were
mm,
good songs. They weren't great, but I don't know. They had a couple of years where they were big and influential. But when I think of that time period, I definitely think of Nirvana and Pearl Jam 1,000 times before I think of Soundgarden or Stone Temple Pilots, who I love, by the way, and Alice in Chains. I feel like those three bands are next level down from Pearl Jam and Nirvana, and next level down don't belong in the Hall of Fame to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Chris Cornell, a lot of people also say he's a great vocalist,
Oh yeah, he is.
maybe the best of all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Again, I'm going based on influence, impact, quality, body of work, and all that stuff up. And I know there's been other artists that had a good 1, 2, 3 years that really kind of pushed them into the Rock and
Hmm.
Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So,
But so like when we were talking years ago, like the Sex Pistols to me, they belong in the Hall of Fame, and they only had a year and a half, 2 years,
mhm.
but they were arguably number one on the list in that genre at that
Yeah.
time period. To me, Soundgarden, like I said, they're just in that second level and didn't maintain that long enough for me to look. I'll
I
say
agree.
this. My son and I, when I was driving back to school last week, a Weezer song came on the radio, and he said to me, somehow we were talking about the Rock Hall of Fame, and he said to me, "Oh, is Weezer in the Hall of Fame?" I said, "No, nor should they be." And Weezer's my second favorite band behind Kiss.
Hmm.
And he was like,
Hmm.
"What do you mean? They've had popular songs for 30, 40 years, whatever the number is." And I was like, "I just don't think it warrants Hall of Fame level."
Mm.
But if I'm thinking of bands that came from the 90s, and I know Weezer is not grunge and Soundgarden was, Weezer is far more accomplished in my mind. I'm not going to say better, right? That's all
Hmm.
subjective, but Weezer is more accomplished than Soundgarden. So if I don't think Weezer belongs in, then I can't think Soundgarden belongs in.
Do you think Wheezy should be in?
Yeah, definitely Wheezy should be in, yes.
I mean, you put up a
Uh,
fair argument on. I'm not. This is not a heavy yes. I believe they should be. This
Hmm.
is again not doing all the research, looking at this list for the first time, jarring my memory, so to
Yeah.
speak. But
I won't be
I,
surprised if they get in, but nah, to
yeah.
me, they don't deserve to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Good band, very good band. Fall a
Yeah.
little bit short to me. All right. The White Stripes.
This last but not least.
Last but not least. Or
Okay.
maybe last and least, depending on one's point of view. I don't know.
Again, I know this is what is it, Jack White? Is that the
Yeah.
guy's name?
Mhm.
I mean, I know he's had a lot of influence guitar wise. I know I follow this stuff. Fender just put out an amp and guitars, and he's got his very unique sound. I know that one song they had, I, well, I remember what the hell's that song? One hit. I don't
Yeah.
really know this band. Is it what
Right.
I
Mhm.
really gonna say? However, I think this is going to be another, Rolling Stone, media darling band that's probably going to get in based on all that. But I can't answer this one either.
Yeah. Look,
I just don't know their body of work. Honestly,
I
I
don't
know
know
his
the
influence. I know
right.
his influence on guitar players because
Hmm.
I've read all this and how he used effects differently guitar. But that doesn't warrant you getting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No. Agreed.
But
Agreed.
I don't know how to answer this one.
Yeah, I don't know their full body of work, obviously, either. I just think that it falls way short to me. Again, when I think of the last 20, 25 years, the White Stripes is not the first rock band that would come
Mm-hmm.
to mind. Not because of my personal taste, it's just that they're not. We went down this list, and I think a band like the Black Crowes was far more influential
Oh
and
yeah,
had a bigger impact than the White Stripes. And I said no to the Black Crowes. So how could I say yes to the White Stripes?
right.
I just said no to Soundgarden. I think Soundgarden had a bigger influence than the
Oh
White
yeah,
Stripes.
I
So,
agree on that.
again, my bar is usually pretty high with these things, and I don't think the White Stripes meet that criteria in my opinion. That's just
I
my
agree.
opinion. So,
I agree.
all right. Well, I'm definitely interested to see what the viewers and the listeners have to say. I will say this before we wrap up, and I'm usually not one to get hung up on that much who is and isn't in there. What is it going to take for Iron Maiden to even get nominated?
Ridiculous.
You know,
Utterly
and
ridiculous.
again, Iron Maiden's not one of my top 10 favorite bands. I like them, but they're not one of my top. For crying out loud, for that, we were talking before about like, oh, Soundgarden's in the second level for that type of music. Iron Maiden, early 80s, they're right there. They're the A-list.
Mhm.
And they're still at that level 40 years later, 45 years later. How are they not even nominated?
It's
It's
utterly
egregious.
ridiculous. It
It's
is.
ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. The fact that we could sit here and talk about artists like Joe Cocker or Billy Idol, Chubby Checker, no
Hmm.
disrespect. Some of them I said belong in. And Iron Maiden can't even get a damn nomination. And
Hmm.
again, I probably like Billy Idol more than Iron Maiden. I hate to say that out loud, but I probably do. Again,
It's okay.
Like Iron Maiden, but I have many of their albums. But I'm saying this from a point of view of just looking at it objectively. For crying out loud, they deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of
It's
Fame.
ridiculous,
It's
and we could
absolutely ridiculous.
and we could name more. Trust
Of
me.
course, of course. I'm sure you get into your Bostons and your Foreigners and all of
Of
that
course.
stuff. But when I look at this
Actually,
list every
Foreigner
year,
got in last year, didn't they?
did they? Yeah, yeah, they might
Yeah,
have.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah, yeah.
But it's just freaking egregious that they can't even get a damn nomination.
Ridiculous.
It is. Well, for everybody out there, I'm curious to see what your thoughts and opinion on. Go through the list. Let us know which artists you think belong in the Hall of Fame. Yes, we are very well aware that this is not only a rock Hall of Fame. You want to make that comment? Go ahead. You're beating a dead horse.
Hmm.
When people make that comment, I hear the old man saying, "Get off my lawn." Okay,
Yeah.
it is what
Right.
it is. It's not changing. It's not changing. I might agree that it should only be rock artists. My opinion doesn't matter. It's not changing. So that's
Yeah.
why I just use their criteria. It's a Music Hall of Fame. Look at this list. Let us know who you think belongs in from this list of 14. Vin and I had some different opinions here, so I'm curious to see where people land on this. But as always, there's no right or wrong answers. So
Absolutely right.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what people say. But anything else, my friend?
No, I think we covered the base. I'll be curious to see how it all pans stuff out, and we'll have a post game wrap up on once
Yes, we will.
you know.
We will, definitely. But as always, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We look forward to your feedback. We will end with a symbol from somebody who's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
Double Ringo.
Double Ringo.
Later, everybody. Have a good one.
Later, everyone.
Alrighty, there you have it. Our thoughts and our opinions on who we think should be inducted as part of the class of the 2025 Rock Hall inductions. We look forward to reading and seeing your comments and your thoughts. As always, All opinions are welcome and there's no right or wrong answers. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.